What is up, everybody? We are here for week 7 of picking winners. Liam and Bert, hit the like button, hit the subscribe if you enjoy this. Let me pull up the right screen to share. I think I want to share this, and then we can go here. So, last week, Bert, again, another W for him on the week. He finished 7-7. I guess that's not really a W, but was better than me. 5-9. I guess he should have been oppo betting me. Bert, what were your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, we call this holding serve. You know, just keeping afloat. And I'm not going to apologize for being +6 on the year, even with a week like this. But a really fun week overall, I think. The NFL games, I think, were kind of just okay. Hopefully, and I know this is mostly an NFL channel. Hopefully, you guys got to see that Tennessee-Alabama game, which was a truly special thing to see on TV. But that was
same night
was
that that MLB game went to like the longest it's ever gone to, right?
Yeah, I think it went like 18 innings or something like that. But just that, I mean, for the people that don't watch college football, just to go ahead and watch that that field goal go in and the reaction. I think maybe it'll make you want to check it out next week, because I got into college late myself, and that's one of the best experiences I've had watching a football game, period. So just wanted to shout that out. I thought that was an awesome game, probably the game of the weekend for me.
Yeah, I will remind people, primarily a fantasy football person. And I think I don't think we're going to do it this week, but going forward, I think something we'll do is probably just like give our 3 favorites, because I like picking all the games for format. But if I was betting these games myself, again, I can't. I'm in Florida. I would not bet the whole slate. I would pick my favorite games. Have to review that, Bert put out this tweet, and I retweeted it and then was viciously attacked by Adam Shearer here. Ship my money for those on DFS. I guess maybe he was tailing my picks a little too much. Maybe he put too much money on these. Going to be discussing this in full tomorrow over on the Lulz channel.
My own words. He used my own words against you, which was really what hurt the most. That's what bothered me. And I didn't even realize, because I'm not in this space, but I just thought it was like some guy commenting. Then I clicked his name, and like he has some absurd amount of followers, and he's telling you how excited you'd be to see him in an airport. At that point, I was kind of like, oh, okay, I'm just going to stay out of this, because this is kind of your domain. But we knew as this show gets bigger, we're going to have,
hey, things are going right. You need
rubbing
your haters.
shoulders with the wrong people. I mean, it could be Van Pelt one of these days coming over the top rope. Really just, you're stealing my shtick here, boys, with bad beats or whatever.
Yeah.
But
I mean,
yeah,
I'm going to go into this fully tomorrow on Pete and with Pete and Brian over on their channel. But, I like Adam. My take is that he was drunk, lost a lot of money, probably in DFS. And I was drunk, and I think he was trying to rile me up. And so I offered to make a bet that I think I was a lock for. So whatever. We'll get into that tomorrow. Anyways, jumping back into the games. I thought this was funny, by the way. We have a home league with 4 people.
So let's talk about the home league for a second, because we actually haven't gotten into it.
Sure.
Liam, who is a millionaire from fantasy football, is playing in a 4-man league this year. Which is, we literally did it like the day before the draft, just because we wanted to have a league with our
gotta grind those edges, man.
With our like high school friends. And so it's a 4-man league. There's no prize for winning. The loser is going to have to display Dan Bilzerian's autobiography on their coffee table for 365 days, or until the next loser, and then it'll just get passed around. That's going to be our new tradition, we think. And we'll probably get it together next year to have more people in the league, but also probably not. Probably be 4 people. But this is just the stuff that we deal with on this group chat in a 4-man league. One of our buddies texting that he inadvertently dropped quite literally probably the best player to have in fantasy this year, and begging people not to pick him up. It wouldn't surprise anybody to know that he's number 1 on the waiver wire, so he's going to end up getting him back.
What would you have done if you were the one priority? Would you have given our friend Nate back Justin Jefferson, or would you have taken that?
I think I probably if this was like an actual like league for money, no way. But and Nate also is just like the nicest guy, and you know that this is completely just accidental.
An accident,
yeah, and it's not something he does regularly. But it was a funny text to get this morning.
Definitely. So let's run through the games from last week real quick. I mean, let's just touch on the big ones. I think obviously Buffalo versus Kansas City. It made sense that the under hit. Both teams were trying to prevent the big plays. Some turnovers from both sides. I didn't think that the game would be as close as it was. Buffalo kind of changed the way its defense covered the Chiefs. Happy we were able to get that win. I also had a lot of money on the line with Buffalo DraftKings stacks with Josh Allen and Diggs and Gabe Davis. So those all got there. So I was happy to see that. The Jets, man. I said before the season to you that the Jets have every piece except the quarterback, and they are hiding Zach Wilson. He is not good, but they are winning. And the Packers, dude, are we ready to stick the fork in the Packers? What's your thoughts?
No, I mean, the Packers look in shambles right now. But I'm not ready to stick the fork in them at all. I mean, if they come out and rip off that division like at the end of the year, I won't be surprised at all.
It would take the Vikings imploding.
I mean, we got to remember, like, we're only in October right now. Like, the best parts of football season, November, December. Like, those are the best parts of the regular season.
More shocked that the Jets beat the Packers or that the Giants beat the Ravens?
I don't know. So the Giants had.
That was shocking to me.
Yeah, I mean, they're both shocking, obviously. But
I mean, and Pitt beating Tampa, like that's the number one shock.
The Giants have what's the DC's name? Wink Martindale.
Yeah.
Who was the old Baltimore guy? Who, like, you never know. Like, coming into those games, is he going to kind of have some perspective that's going to add into that? I did just want to talk about the Buffalo Kansas City game too.
Yeah.
Just kind of a one of those games where, you thought they were going to go in and it was going to be that kind of LA KC deal where it's like 54-50 or 53-50, whatever that game was.
The Mexico City game.
Still as good of a game to me. Like, it was amazing to watch. Buffalo's got to feel great because everything that everybody was saying about, you can't get it done in the close games. You can't win with your
that
defense,
narrative was always dumb.
Yeah, I mean, but you like to see teams come through. I mean, at this point, for them to come into Kansas City, into Arrowhead, get business settled there, they got to be thrilled about potentially playing in Buffalo.
Yeah, and there was a lot of talk about Kansas City's missing these starters. The Bills are without Trey White, and Trey White.
The whole our secondary is beat up. It's like, okay, that's literally every team in the NFL.
Yeah, the Bills are starting like 3 rookies, but the Bills are about to get Trey White back. Obviously, Micah Hyde's out for the year, so I think the best Buffalo is yet to come. And Von Miller has doubled down that OBJ is going to be in Buffalo, which I don't really see that we need.
From what OBJ, I saw, it's either going to be KC or.
Kansas City made that. This week they made some salary relief with Travis Kelce's restructure, so some people are thinking maybe that's going to happen. But yeah, I don't really see that Buffalo needs OBJ. But hey, Stephon Diggs or Gabe Davis gets hurt, and we are weak at wide receiver without those guys, so the depth doesn't hurt. But Von
I
Miller
mean,
is like doubled down.
that's not gonna help your Gabe Davis futures though. So
Yeah. Hey, maybe it will.
Uh,
Maybe he takes coverage,
yeah. Other games that I thought were noteworthy. My adventure with Miami, which I woke up, I think, probably after this podcast and saw, or not podcast, after this show and saw a quote from Mike McDaniel that they'd taken the ping pong table out, and I thought this is an excellent bet. Like they're taking it, like they're all business. And then the next day, Tyreek Hill saying that it was actually just in the repair room and that like the tournament is still on or whatever. Then I was right back to like, oh man, this is not going to go well, and it didn't. And then Atlanta, who is 6-0 against the spread to start the season.
They're a lot better than people think, man.
Yeah, but I'm just like, that's bonkers to be 6-0 at like as that team. Hopefully Calvin Ridley's making that money this year.
What's our takeaway on this Pitt loss? I mean, Tampa, this is inexcusable. Like, how did this happen?
Yeah, I think it's either going to be one of those that we kind of just saw Tampa start to unravel at this point in the season, and we'll look back and be like, okay, they were just never that good this year, or didn't get in the right reps or whatever because Brady was taking so much time off, or it's just going to be one of those head scratchers at the end of the year. I don't
Happens
really
every year.
In
Yeah. And I thought Kenny Pickett played well. Then he got concussed.
So. Buffalo lost to Jacksonville last year.
Yeah, I was going to bring that up. Like, it happens every year. And it's way different playing Pitt at home versus Buffalo.
Yeah, but Brady's typically like phenomenal and not Heinz anymore, but whatever that stadium is.
Yeah.
But I mean, obviously the big talk is him taking the week off basically and then coming in eviscerating his line on the sidelines. But you know,
it doesn't look good. And
heavy lies the head that wears the crown, I guess, right? But
neither does going to a party and then
which, I mean, absurd move by Robert Kraft to like, you're an NFL owner. That's like the one, like, you have the entire year to do whatever you want. Or I mean, not just don't do it during the NFL season, or do it on your bye week or something like.
And then finally, I think we get a break from these Denver primetime games. Man,
terrible.
Please get them off our TV.
Are you at the point that we're starting to feel bad for Russell Wilson?
Some people are thinking that he was faking injury to like save face now.
Yeah. I mean, I've been on like the train that he's like a total fake corny dude for probably like 5-6 seasons now. Not to be like, oh look, I had it pegged, I had it called or whatever, but for me, having like already kind of had that decided about him, now seeing him kind of just get piled in on or like piled on is just I'm starting to feel almost bad for him. I'm waiting for the tweets that say like, Russell Wilson has never had a single MVP vote. That was the big thing last year.
The one thing that came out that's just like, what the hell, dude, is apparently he doesn't give his phone number.
Yeah, the Marshawn Lynch thing.
Yeah, he doesn't give his phone number to his teammates, so teammates have to reach out to his agent to get in touch. Like, that's just weird. That's so weird.
Yeah, no, I mean,
and unlikable.
Yeah,
and I mean, he's not being helped by coaching at all. Like, what do we think Denver's record is if Brian Daboll is in Denver and not the Giants?
I don't know, man. I don't playing that game with the first year head coaches, and like Brian Daboll is, coaching a quarterback that is on his way out of the league if he's not, willing to buy in. Whereas like Russell is an actual superstar, so the whole.
Okay, we cannot be like, oh, Brian Daboll's lucky to have Daniel Jones.
No, but that's not what I'm saying. I'm saying the whole pretense of Russ coming to Denver was that he is going to get a lot of say in the offense. And so I'm not saying it's specifically Daniel Jones that makes Brian Daboll, like, he's not lucky to have him. But, I think that any coach, any first-year head coach would be struggling with kind of the brackets they put on Russell Wilson to eventually come to Denver, which is that he's going to get to cook And that's kind of why he agreed to get traded there. So in that sense, I kind of feel for Nathaniel Hackett too. But yeah.
Yeah. And we have to mention that the real NBA season kicks off tonight with the full slate of games.
No. It kicked off last night.
No, I know, but like there was 2 games. So the real NBA season with majority of the games are tonight. So that's what I'm side-eyeing right now myself.
Huge Celtics fan myself.
How they do?
I don't know if they won last night.
They won. Nice. I heard Jason Tatum looks the part.
Well, yeah. He's a top 5 to 7 player in the league this year. Hopefully he makes that jump to like, MVP caliber. But he was a first team All Pro last year, so he's already there. The only question is the kind of reaction to that fallout with the coaching staff, but that's a little off.
Oh topic. Yeah. Nothing's off topic for this show. So jumping into Thursday Night Football, we have the Saints, who could be starting anyone from.
I saw like they just ruled out like half their roster.
Andy Dalton could be the quarterback. Jameis Winston could be the quarterback. Taysom Hill could be the quarterback. I believe the Andy Dalton injury is not that serious. Arizona, very disappointing. They are getting DeAndre Hopkins back from his PED suspension. However, they lost Hollywood Brown, Marquise Brown, for at least 6 weeks. It originally was ruled out for the season injury, and I drafted a lot of Hollywood this year, so that was going to hurt, but happy to see that he should make a recovery. So they made a trade for we have to talk about this. They made a trade for Robbie Anderson, who was kicked off the field by his coach, a little Antonio Brown, and then promptly traded. Like, I've never seen a trade executed so quickly.
Well, they were either cutting him or
it was such a clear win-win, right? Like Arizona lost Hollywood Brown. They needed a speedster. And Cliff apparently said he is willing to maybe give up play calling duties, which if he wants to keep his job, I would say he's the odds-on favorite to get fired next if he doesn't.
That's like I just don't understand when you come in this like Sean McVay type, that's your whole brand. Like, and you're like, okay, well now I'm not going to, like, you're pretty much nailing the coffin at that point.
Yeah. I mean, anyways, the Cardinals are 2-point favorites at home with a 44 over under. The Saints should have back Chris Olave. Michael Thomas has again been ruled out. Not sure about Jarvis Landry. Those are the big. So my guess is, I mean, there were some rumors that Andy Dalton might stay at quarterback even if Jameis is back, which I don't think is right, but I guess. Anyways, Bert, how do you see this one going?
Do you think that will you be surprised at all if Nuke just goes off in this one? Like,
I mean, so my take is I thought he's definitely slowing down, and I was holding out hope that Marquise Brown being back would if Marquise Brown was healthy and DeAndre Hopkins returning, like I was holding out hope that would fix the Cardinals offense, because Cliff always does this donk shit where he keeps one wide receiver always on one side of the field, like running the same routes. And so it was like, okay, whatever, do that with that guy, but this guy will do good. And so, I mean, I'm of the belief that taking PEDs is probably helping you. Just because you got caught for it doesn't mean other people aren't doing it.
Everybody in the league is doing it. Like, make no mistake. Like, but
I have no idea.
Yeah, I mean, that's obviously, I'm not saying like that's not informed at all. That's just my opinion. But every year it seems like Kyler has been in the league. First week comes out, him and Nuke going off. It's holy crap, guys are gonna be Super Bowl contenders. And then they kind of like fade. I think that they're gonna get that bump with Nuke coming in this week.
Marshawn Lattimore should be out too, I believe.
Yeah, and especially on like a Thursday night game, having that in prime time, he's that dude to me. He's had a couple of years here that have been down for him, but I think that he's like kind of one of those legends that is going to come through and go off. So I like Arizona -2 here.
Yeah, I mean, I want to pick the Cardinals because I like betting on fun quarterbacks and offenses. However, the Arizona interior line is a disaster. Like they were getting blown up by a not good Seattle defense. Now the Saints defense has kind of been a shell of itself, but I'm gonna guess that Hopkins does not just fix the Cardinals. So give me the other side. Give me the Saints +2. No idea who's going to be the quarterback, but no, Arizona's interior O line is just so bad that maybe they can't help that. Like, give me like Taysom Hill. Like, this is going to be a quintessential Taysom Hill primetime game. That's what I'm calling. Bet those Taysom Hill touchdown props. All right, moving on to the New York Giants getting no respect from Vegas.
Crazy.
They are an underdog on the road against the Jaguars, who had a heartbreak loss on a crazy.
Awesome cover, though, that backdoor cover of them getting in, because I think they were -4 or something like that, and they were up 2 and scored a touchdown to,
Yeah, they were -2 when we did it. And Indy
okay, so it was going to be a push, and then the Colts threw for a score or something like that.
Yeah, and I mean the Jags were winning most of that game. I don't know, it got away from them clearly. So, my turn to run through this. The Jaguars D line is like pretty good, and but I think like the rookie is maybe hitting the wall. Like it doesn't make sense why Matt Ryan dropped back like 55 times and they couldn't make any pressures last week. Give me the Jaguars, man. Like this feels like the trap spot where everyone's gonna be like, "Ooh, the Giants are +3." The Giants got to have a letdown game eventually, so give me the Jaguars here. I like them hopefully getting like ETN and Gang involved and Trevor doing something. So I'll take the Jags -3 at home.
Yeah, I think since the Jags have since they beat the shit out of LA, you've taken them every week and they've lost and they haven't covered every week.
Yeah.
And I mean, they're just not a good team. It just happens to be that LA is not a good team either. And they like took advantage of that. So New York here, easy, I think, +3. They're getting points. They're going to cover.
Yeah, that feels like the spot where like everyone's going to take it. And
yeah, no, I'm sure the public
Vegas,
money will be, but sometimes the public money is on the better team for a reason. Like
for sure. All right. The disappointing Packers only getting -4.5 on the road against what I think is one of the worst teams in football, the Commanders. How do you see this one, Bert?
So they've lost the Giants. They've lost the Jets. They are not going to drop 3 games against like perennially bad teams in the past few years. Green Bay's going to cover here, in my opinion. Even on the road, it's a get right game for them, and if they don't win here, their season really is over. Then they really are in free fall. And but they will cover as well, -4.5.
Yeah, I'm going to take the Packers -4.5 as well. Again, I think the Commanders are probably one of the worst teams in football. They're going to be without Carson Wentz. People are questioning why they're not going to roll with the rookie, Sam Howell. Instead, they're going with Taylor Heineke.
Yeah.
We know what Taylor Heineke is. Like, give the rookie a shot.
Taylor Heineke is not like when we say we know what he is. I mean,
he's not. No, we know what he is. He's like fine, but like maybe the rookie could be good, and like fine's not getting the job done for the Commanders. So definitely give me the Packers -4.5. They got to get their shit right eventually.
Ron Rivera with a little bit of a meltdown too, I think, in his press conference. I don't know if you saw that.
Oh yeah, freaking out about.
The
Commanders got all sorts of issues, man.
Yeah. Well, I mean, like, they won the whole report that came out this week. That was crazy.
Jim Irsay of the Colts. People are, Jim Irsay famously been in the news for some shit, but people are like, hey, this guy's got all his laundry out in the air, so
I saw that. I think
fire from the hip.
One of the guys said that, yeah.
okay, you can blackmail him all you want. He's an open book.
No, Snyder is very much Alex Jones vibes. You know, he has the documents, he has the receipts.
Oh yes. Which, by the way, this poker thing, dude, this like Nick Bertucci character, if anyone's been following that, he too is totally like, it's insane. Anyways,
I just saw a couple retweets of that. It seems like he's doing an investigation on something that nobody cares about.
Yeah, no, he's
in the name
supposed-
of investigating what we talked about last week or something like that.
He's supposed to be investigating his stream security, and he like keeps on releasing these like cryptic
Poker Karen.
yeah, he keeps on releasing these like cryptic tweets with like typed like PowerPoint slides where he's like, I know the identity of this Twitter troll account, and people are like, really, dude? Like, this is what you're investigating?
Yeah, I every so often people think that their following is like bigger than it is, and it almost never goes anywhere.
Yeah.
You know.
All right, so the Lions they should be getting much healthier. They should have back DeAndre Swift. They should back Amon-Ra St. Brown should be healthy, who he was not healthy at all in that Patriots game. He was like out there, but he wasn't really his full self. So they're coming off the bye. They're getting two of their biggest. I mean, DeAndre Swift has not been ruled in, but he should be. The Cowboys, on the other hand, are getting back Dak Prescott. I'm going to take the Lions +7. I just think that if DeAndre Swift is healthy, I know their defense is terrible, but I feel like they should be able to move the ball on the ground and keep this within a touchdown. So give me Detroit +7. It's kind of a scary one to take because they could definitely get boat raced, but
yeah, I mean, what's interesting about this one is the Cowboys who just lost, and you can't go 1 for 1 ever, but the Cowboys who just lost to the Eagles, Detroit played them very, very close, and I still think they have that good offense. Got a little bit exposed against New England, obviously, but 7's a big line. I got beat up by some big lines that I laid the points on last week, so I like Detroit here too.
Yeah, I mean, I thought I was like, I must be winning the slate. I took all those lines, but I forgot about all the nitty gritty games.
But Dallas is good. Like, I mean, they've got to be thrilled with where they are with a backup QB to be in the position that they are. Like,
yeah, I mean, the question is like
they are just getting Dak back right in time because it seems like his magic is kind of, next week after seeing how Philly kind of dominated him, I think he probably would. He probably turned back into a pumpkin, but he kind of just had that nice little send off, that nice little streak this year, and probably gets a big contract next year from one of those worst teams,
Washington
like
or the Panthers. Yeah, and the question is like how healthy is Dak? They're 2 weeks out of the bye, so I don't know. And I would expect the Cowboys to try to like establish the run, so it's kind of hard to get to a huge lead when you're running the ball a lot with Zeke in game.
Totally.
Falcons against the Bengals. How do you see it?
I don't see how you can't take the Falcons at this point. I think you got to ride them, right? So Falcons. I mean, they're 6-0 against the spread this year, so I like the Falcons.
Me too, man. I mean, I think Burrow's going to be able to move the ball in the air, and let's go, Antonio. Love it. So did my cousin. He called me up, bet big on the Bert's brother, actually.
I had the Bills too, by the way. So let's.
Well, didn't call you. I'm gonna take the Falcons too. Mariota, man, he's gonna get 6 to 10 rushing attempts a game. He's gonna move the ball. The Bengals are not a team that is really gonna like pile it on. They just need to be efficient if they're gonna get there. So yeah, I'm definitely taking the Falcons +6.5. Feels suspicious though. Like I feel like the talk of town is going to be like, oh, they're 6-0 against the spread, and you know,
Sure.
but Tampa at Carolina. I believe this one is me to talk about. Bucks on the road against the Panthers. Sam Darnold might be quarterback for. He's off the IR, so he might be starting for them. They should have back J.C. Horn, I believe is his name, their star corner. Tampa has not looked like a team that's going to destroy anyone, and the Panthers have a good defense. So I'm definitely taking Carolina plus 11, just a huge amount of points. And if Carolina can just keep on targeting CMC, get first downs, it's just hard to get off to a huge lead. How do you see it, Bert?
Yeah, it's a tough one. I mean, Carolina is in full-on free fall, but 11 is a huge, huge line. And the over-under is 40, which implies what? That they're going to win. I don't know. Like they're going to win.
If you remember, the Rams were – the Rams had the same line as the Rams actually laid minus 10.
10.5, yeah. I like Tampa here, man. I mean,
yeah,
it's hard not to take them, even with them losing that game last week. I mean, they're still going to be playing in the playoffs this year, I feel like, and this is a game where I think, when you look back at when they struggled in the regular season previously, there was that game that they just came in to Detroit and won like 45-0 or something like that. And this seems kind of like that game that either maybe doesn't serve as a catalyst to kicking off the rest of their season, but at least keeps it alive for them. And, I think they take care of business here and win pretty convincingly.
I will say this is not a game I would bet if I was betting the cards myself, because I could see Brady after going to the party and whatnot trying to have his best week of practice.
I mean, this is the most criticized he's been. Probably since Deflategate.
And they pretty much have to win, right? Like,
yeah, I mean, from what I've been seeing, like just scroll, and everything is targeted towards you, and I'm a huge Brady guy, so there's going to be a lot of Brady content. But he's getting ripped apart by the media. I mean, I can't really remember a time that he's been this thoroughly, attacked or whatever. So I think that he, and he usually reacts pretty well to that. So looking for like 6 scores and 500 yards or whatever, and win this game.
Totally could happen. The next, we have the Browns plus 6.5 against the Ravens. I think the big injury here is the Browns should be without Wyatt Teller, who is, if we remember, the Browns have one of the best O-lines in football, and Wyatt Teller is one of their all-pro guards. But how do you see this one going, Bert?
Yeah, I mean, Baltimore is just kind of reeling, I think, right now. I still think they probably take care of Cleveland here, but 6.5 huge line. Cleveland probably has a couple long, slow drives that go for scores and keep this one close. So I like Cleveland plus 6.5.
I too am taking Cleveland plus 6.5. I think they're going to be able to move the ball in the air. Obviously, Nick Chubb can move the ball. They just got embarrassed by the Patriots against Bailey Zappi. So division game. The Ravens pretty much in a must-win spot themselves. They probably feel after that disappointing loss and coming off the meltdown against the Bills. But I'm going to take the Browns too. The Browns are either covering this or they're getting their doors blown off, though. It's like 1 and 2. Moving on to a divisional repeat. The second divisional games almost always are a little bit lower scoring than the first one. Teams get a chance to adjust to themselves. The Colts are getting points against the Titans' terrible secondary. Matt Ryan dropped back 55 times last week, had some success in the air. I'm going to take the Colts plus 2.5. I think Alec Pierce is going to move the ball. Paris Campbell got involved. So if Matt Ryan is not turning over the ball left and right, which he totally could, I like Colts plus the points.
Yeah, I mean, Titans took them at home or took them on the road. I think that they continue to handle business and finish up this sweep of the Colts here. Kind of get a stranglehold on that division. I like them to win this division this year, so I take Tennessee minus 2.5.
Yeah, I mean, this is one where I'm playing the Titans D in daily fantasy, but I'm also playing the Colts passing attack. So it's like,
yeah,
I see it both
this is
ways.
a tough one because the Colts are kind of trending upwards, to be honest. Like they
I don't think we could say either of these teams are like.
No, I'm saying for terms of like, are they going to make the playoffs? And the way that both these teams will make the playoffs is winning the division. And the Colts have kind of like they've tied Houston to start the year. So I just think that this is kind of a point where they run into a team that has been taking care of business for a while and will handle them.
Couple more games here. Shorter slate we should mention because
Crazy this game right here. The fact that it's a pick 'em.
Wow. I mean, well, the Jets versus the Broncos. We should mention that several teams are on bye, especially some good teams: the Eagles, the Bills, the Rams. I wouldn't say the Rams are good, but they're out there. So the Jets are coming off a hot win, and the Broncos have a elite defense, probably the second best defense in the NFL. But we don't know if Russ is playing. He claimed to have a hamstring injury, so he may or may not play. I don't really think that matters too much. Greg Dulcich came off the IR, the rookie. He looked good for them. The team is pissed at Hackett because Melvin Gordon, he effectively benched and didn't even tell him why. And it didn't really make sense. Like Melvin
Have you
Gordon,
seen that Melvin Gordon is like retweeting
no, he's like liking tweets, like
him and
JJ
Keenan Allen, man.
JJ Zacharyson is a big fantasy account, and I think he tweeted out something like Melvin Gordon's good enough to take touches away from Javonte, but not good enough to, take touches away from Latavius Murray, who, if we remember, was on the Saints 2 weeks ago. I forget whose turn it is to go first, but whose turn is it to go in this one?
I think it's me because you had Colts first and I took Titans.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, I hate to do it because this is probably my least favorite team in the entire NFL. But the Jets are at least hot hand, maybe for real. I would love for them to lose because we're in the basement of the division right now. But they just seem like they kind of have that thing, the moxie. And Denver is so stagnant, so unexciting to watch. I'm kind of taking this because I'm taking the team that is more fun to watch. And strictly that reason alone. On the Russell Wilson thing, he will play. Like that's not. I would be shocked if he doesn't. The Michael Rappaport tweet of it's a real injury. He's and he's in real pain. Like that. That's just the most crafted by his camp that there could be. But he will be in this game, doing weird warm-ups and being Mr. Unlimited. And probably gets picked off by Sauce Gardner for at least one, I would say. So MYJ here, which kills me, but it is what it is.
So it's kind of funny when you said, oh man, I love that everyone Took Liam's advice last week. Buffalo -2.5 was free money. See, that's
I
what I'm
was
saying,
on them
guys.
too. What the hell is this?
Well, here's what I said is I think that the loyal listeners know, like, we picked the whole games, but I highlighted like this is my favorite game. Like, this game will hit. And so, yeah, thank you, Antonio Gibson. I don't think Antonio Gibson's allowed to be betting sports, but hey, man, I understand he's pissed off about being benched
Okay,
for
let's
Brian
also point
Robinson.
out Antonio Gibson said he had Bills +2.5. They were -2.5 last week. So
All right, mistype by Antonio, but he knows how to bet the sports. So, so this one's kind of funny, Bert. When you said my least favorite team in the
my
NFL,
loyal followers are they know what, and this is also. I just want to say, like, on our group chat, this is a consistent. Anytime a game is not going Liam's way, it's because he bet what he felt, not what he thought. Which is, betting with your heart versus your head or whatever. Like, it's an absurd conversation, but he really believes this stuff. So just know that this is genuine and authentic.
well, I will say also, like, I looked at the thing and I see that I took Cleveland -2.5 when we did the show, but when I built all my DFS lineups, I was jamming Ramondre in. So I was like,
and that happens all the time.
And Taekwon.
Yeah, when you pick the whole slate, you're sitting there and you're like, oh, I must have had this team. And then you go and you're like, oh, I had the opposites. I've had games where I've lost and I've gone over and I'd be like, oh, I picked the team that won, even though, like, when I woke up Sunday morning, I felt like it's total coin flip. I mean, but
by the way, guys, these guys are not plants by me. No, just kidding. No, what's funny, Bert, is when you said I hate to do it, it's my least favorite team in the NFL. I had already written down Denver -1.
Because you thought I was taking Denver?
Yeah. And then I understood you meant the division guy. So, yeah, I mean,
I obviously hate Denver too, but New York they're the worst.
This one is obviously going to come down to which defense plays better and which team can basically run the ball. Like, I saw some stats that like Jerry Judy's like wide open a bunch of times, but is just getting not targeted well. Russ can just not see the short shit, man. Like, Dulcich was open so many times. Sauce Gardner, I think, is a top 2 corner in the NFL. Like, this is probably the matchup of the 2 best corners in the NFL. Patrick Surtain.
You think he's already top 2
and
6 games in?
Like, it's crazy to say, but like, okay, maybe it's Ramsey, but like, literally no one has got it going against him.
Yeah, and I mean, like, he was like that dude in college too. Like, people really thought that if Cincinnati was going to beat Bama, it was going to be because of him.
Well,
he's
that
good that he, like, and the difference between Cincinnati and Bama versus like Buffalo and Carolina is this is Cincinnati and Bama, and Carolina and Buffalo is like this, like
you're talking NFL versus college.
Yeah, that's like the worst team in the NFL but Cincinnati was a good team, is what I'm saying. Is like, but even then, like, Bama's just that much better than them. And people were still kind of like, well, you never know if the Sauce Gardner thing's just gonna like take over this game.
Yeah, I mean, so he shut down Jamar Chase. He shut down Deontay Johnson. I wouldn't say he shut down Tyreek. I think Tyreek got hurt that game, and Tyreek is like a different matchup. Love Gibson correcting himself 20 minutes later. He shut down pretty much everyone he's faced. So I would expect he's going to shut down Cortland Sutton. But definitely, I'm going to take the Jets +1 too, man. Like, I'm a believer in Breece Hall. I think they actually have good coaching. Their defense is good. They're hiding Zach Wilson, which at least they know, like, that's the game plan. Even though they have like all these wide receivers. So give me the Jets +1, man. All right. The Texans +7 on the road against the Raiders coming off the bye. How do you see it, Liam? I guess it's my turn to go first. I'm not a lot to say about this game. It's not that exciting. I did see that I believe Brandon Cooks was rested, which some people are thinking they might trade him. It was like not injured, just didn't practice. So like some people are theorizing they're going to trade him. I'm going to take the Raiders off the bye, man. They're going to establish the run with Josh Jacobs. They have the better quarterback. They have the better wide receiver. So give me the Raiders.
Speaking
The Raiders.
I don't mean to go back in time here, but who do you think would pick up CMC? What do you think is the best landing spot for him?
So I think the reports that Buffalo is going to get him is totally made up by Carolina to try to. Buffalo.
That sounds like it's targeted towards you too, because I've seen reports that New England's getting him.
No. I think it's the fantasy football community is just like, yes, we want CMC in Buffalo. But what happened is like early, like in the offseason, Buffalo reached out about him. Obviously, the Bills have a huge Carolina connection. That's where Brandon Beane came from. That's where Sean McDermott came from. So there has been a lot of like Panthers retreads who ended up in Buffalo.
But don't they have a new owner? Like it's a completely new regime.
Yeah, but they still have ties like with the GM and whatnot. So I don't think Buffalo unless they could get CMC for very cheap, like they would need the Panthers to eat salary. They are definitely not giving a first round pick for him. Like they just straight up don't need him. Like obviously he makes them better, but it's not like they.
Yeah, I mean, that's my thing with him is like any team that wants him isn't going to be willing to pay the price that Carolina. Like it's basically
like 2 first round picks is
like
laughable.
A 4th round pick is what I would trade for him, and he's the best running back in the league. But
I think he'll go for more than that.
No, he would like Jerry Jones will probably go and get him or something. But probably not him because
no. What I saw that makes sense is Uncle Andy over here. Shout out, that's not my real uncle. He said the Niners.
That one would make sense to me. I mean,
that makes some sense with Elijah Mitchell banged up, and honestly, like the thought of having to defend Debo, who wins with power and is like a yard after catch guy, and defend CMC, who wins with agility and is the yard after catch guy. Like that's terrifying.
Well, that would be crazy because you probably see like Debo lined up behind the QB.
Yeah, it would be like the Debo CMC backfield would be so fun.
Wide. Yeah. And Shanahan's so creative.
And that's what Jimmy needs. He needs these guys who can do that for him.
That would make a lot of sense.
But the other team that makes a lot of sense is because they're just determined to not build through the draft is the Rams.
LA,
it's the Rams. Like I could totally see the Rams. Cam Akers was essentially, I think they just had a disagreement. Like that was weird. He didn't play last week because he had a disagreement with the coach. So he's probably going to get traded or whatever. I could totally see. I mean, their O-line's in shambles, so they need this like short guy, and him and Kupp would be fun too. So if he does get traded, give me the Rams or Niners, and that division's wide open. All the teams are so close, and I would guess that, or maybe even the Chiefs, man. Like maybe the Chiefs trade like CH in pieces. Like maybe the Chiefs look at this Bills game and they're like, we need some more juice.
The Chiefs are always in on that running back that's like leaving his team.
Andy Reid, that makes so much sense.
Yeah. And Tampa Bay is kind of also always in on those guys. So
they have Fournette and Rachaad White though. Like they have a rookie, so I don't think Buffalo. And again, the Panthers would have to eat a lot of salary to make some of these things happen. But yeah, give me the Niners or the Rams if he does get traded. But I don't think they're gonna fire sale they're not gonna be selling DJ Moore and all these pieces. Like all these hopeful fantasy managers are like, DJ Moore could get it on the Chiefs. It's like maybe, but then the Panthers can't just be a team with no talent on it,
Yes, they can.
Well, you're not going to draw any desirable coaches or
they're
GMs.
plus 11 against a 3-3 team this week with CMC. I think they're probably like, who cares?
Yeah.
It is what it is. But okay. Who did you take here? You took Houston.
No, I took the Las Vegas Raiders.
Okay, so am I. Nice. Yeah, I mean, Vegas seemed, terrible start to the year, obviously. maybe some bad luck with that kind of scoop and score in overtime. And the loss to NYG or the New York Football Giants at the beginning of the year doesn't look as bad. You know, I think Vegas is probably better than we gave them credit for. Houston, we know, is bad. Have you heard? Do you know who Jack Easterby is?
Yes.
Yeah. Sorry. The only reason I ask is because he's like notorious in New England. He was like the character coach and left with like.
I saw something about like a sign from like a fan that was like.
So the Houston radio host this week said that Jack Easterby told him he was making like he's like, this is how this guy's such a kook. He's like, he told me that Bill Belichick or Robert Kraft told him to follow Bill Belichick around and take notes so that he could create a clone of Bill Belichick when he retired. And when like pressed further on like, does he mean like an actual like test tube clone, or does he mean like somebody similar to him that he could like have a clone of him? They were like they didn't go further into it. So that guy, maybe he was just taking steps in the right direction because they got him out of there, it sounds like. Regardless, Houston, terrible team in the league. I like Vegas here to, handle them -7 win by.
And Josh Jacobs, like on a there was like rumors he was going to be in the committee. He looks electric, man.
What's the score? Like, is there going to be any assessment of like suspension or anything for the Devontae Adams thing, or
big fine? Yeah. Devontae Adams. I don't know. I'm sure he got sued, as always happens. But I don't know what will happen there.
A similar situation in the Alabama game. There's a player that got arrested for like hitting a student or something like that. It's crazy.
Jeez.
It's tough for these guys. I mean, like, not condoning their behavior at all, but you take them at their worst moments and just surround them with people in their personal space. It's kind of unfair, but also you can't react that way. So got to be better. But
yeah. Moving on to one of the more confusing lines of the week to me. Kansas City -2.5 on the road against the Niners. How do you see it, Bert?
Yeah, I mean, I like KC here. I mean, I still think that they are a premier team in the NFL. San Francisco remains to be seen. They may be in that premier tier. But I know for a fact KC is. I'm not 100% sure on San Francisco, and they're going to be looking to settle up, I think, on what happened last week. Wouldn't be surprised at all if Mahomes goes for like some crazy stat line in this game after throwing that backbreaker against Buffalo.
Yeah, I think Kansas City's going to destroy the Niners. I mean, the Niners have a good defense, but they have faced some terrible teams. Like they faced the Panthers, they faced didn't even lose to the Panthers. They faced the Bears in the
they lost to the Bears in that crazy
but
weather game.
Their defensive stats look good, but they've not faced anyone like
I don't think
Mahomes.
they lost to the Panthers, but
I'll look it up.
I can get it up while you talk if you want.
They lost to the Bears in that monsoon. They faced Geno Smith. They won. They lost to the Broncos and lost by 1. They beat the shit out of the Rams, and they did beat up on the Panthers. And then they lost to the Falcons.
Oh, yeah, they crushed them. Yeah.
But they got destroyed by the Falcons last week. But the point is, the quarterbacks they faced are Justin Fields in a monsoon, Geno Smith, Russell Wilson, Matt Stafford, who has a terrible O-line, and the Chiefs have a great O-line. They faced Baker Mayfield, and they faced Marcus Mariota. And for the long time, the Niners have struggled against mobile quarterbacks. I think it's just a scheme thing. So like Marcus Mariota was able to run on them. Mahomes will run. And what the Bills did is they did this unique thing where they changed their defense and they dropped Matt Milano as a spy to stop this running of him. But I think Mahomes is going to be able to move the ball with his legs. He's going to be able to move the ball in the air. So I don't understand at all why this is -2.5. One of my most confident lines, Chiefs -2.5.
Maybe the West Coast trip, but it's really not even that bad for them. They're flying from KC. So, I mean, I don't know.
Yeah, and the Niners defense is good, but it's not the Bills defense, which is the best in the NFL. Like, it's just not. Anyways, next game is the upstart Seahawks coming off a win where I don't think they scored any touchdowns. But
It's a nuts line, just a crazy line.
Seattle +6 against the Chargers, who finally should have back Keenan Allen, who they were able to win. I mean, dude, we have to talk about it. I was a Brandon Staley guy. I thought he was fine. His game management at the end of that game against the Broncos was some of the worst shit I've ever seen in my life.
It's not that game. It's every game. He's just like, the guy is like, and the problem is that ESPN pulls up their model and they're like, actually, it was the right decision. It's like, but anybody with eyes that has watched the sport for like 10 years.
I don't have a problem with the analytic decisions. What I have a problem with is they have like a minute 30 left and they are like, they get like a 4-yard catch and they don't take a timeout. They're like running hurry up. So they go from like a minute 30 or whatever it was all the way down to like 30 seconds for this like Hail Mary attempt and they had 3 timeouts. Like they just didn't use their timeouts. And then they had to use a timeout on a punt in overtime because they didn't have their shit together. It was just like, what is going on in LA?
He is one of those guys, and I am like hyper focused on it because I don't like him. I think that he's everything wrong with like the analytics kind of, because I agree with, there are edges that you can get from deciding to make choices that mathematically favor you, even though they make you uncomfortable based on the 30 years that you've spent playing or coaching the game. That to me makes perfect sense. But there are guys that like really, I think he plays to a 3-ring binder. Like, I don't think he doesn't know what his players, what the vibe is on his team, like what's going on, proven by the fact that he has a tight end holding a hand up, asking to come out of the game. And he runs him as the number 1 option that goes for a 96-yard pick six, proven by the fact that he screws up the entire end of game scenario when all he needed to do was tie to get into the playoffs against Las Vegas last year. Proven by the fact that he has Keenan Allen sitting from his house, tweeting, "What are we doing in this Cleveland game?"
Did you see that Sean Payton was at this game in the stands and in a box, and some people were thinking that he was there to look at perhaps his future team in the Chargers?
Yeah, but I mean, maybe that's true, but he's going to the Cowboys, so we already know that. But
I don't know if that's true. I would much rather be.
That's always the rumor that
I would much rather be coach of Justin Herbert than Dak and the boys.
Yeah, I don't know. I think who knows? We don't know what motivates these guys, but sometimes the Dallas market is for some guys like something that
a lot of people like LA.
Yeah, but they play in like not real conditions or whatever. Sean Payton would probably be like, "Oh, there's more fans for the other team." I could totally see Sean Payton having a press conference of like, "If only our fans would come out," and they're like, "What fans?"
The other thing we have to talk about is J.C. Jackson has to be one of the most disappointing offseason signings. The star corner, who I think he was even benched at one point in the.
This is the way it goes, buddy. Bill Belichick turns.
I said he was never good. I've always said that
are not that good into excellent DBs, at least with excellent numbers, and then they go off to another place, and everybody realizes what they actually were. Malcolm Butler, J.C. Jackson, those are 2 right there.
So I don't know. It feels wrong that the Chargers are getting spotted 6, but I'm going to do it again. I'm gonna take the Chargers -6. Feels wrong. I know
You're
I
a
should.
masochist, dude. That's
I know I
this
should be
is
doing it, but give me.
behavior.
I'm just hoping Keenan Allen back can fix this team, and Herbert's getting healthier. Like, I will say that Kenneth Walker of the Seahawks looks real good, so I do think they're going to be able to run the ball. But come on, Austin Eckler,
No Joey Bosa
Big-
either.
Big Mike, like they gotta be efficient and score some touchdowns eventually. But I would not be betting this game if I had a card.
Yeah, I think I would bet this game. I think I would take Seattle. I mean, I'm that. And I
Them
think I
not
said
scoring touchdowns last week though, like against Arizona's D, that's not the best.
I
Even
think
though
I
they-
said last week that I think to take LA, unless the line is like completely nuts for the rest of the season, would be like I don't think I would do it. And so yeah, Seattle. Probably I'd probably take them to win outright too. I mean, but yeah.
Yeah, if you're, I mean, I agree. Like, bet it outright if you're gonna bet it. I should mention that we're gonna move this show to Tuesdays going forward. It's just too much with me doing waivers on Wednesdays and whatnot. So, heads up for the 7 people who watch this each week.
And we love you.
Yeah, hey, we do.
We're not disparaging the fact that you're on here. It's
No, like that. Hey, man, you're ground floor. You know, you get direct access. Reach out to us on Twitter.
Tweet at us and Adam Scherer.
The Pittsburgh Steelers, who coming off a big win against the Bucks with Kenny Pickett playing good, got concussed. Not every concussion is the same. It seems like every concussion you're automatically out next week, but I've heard that he's even practicing, so he might play. Tua should be back. Saw a report that he doesn't even remember getting out of the game, so that's really scary. Yeah. Hope that he never has another concussion again, because that would start getting to the point where he might not play that much longer.
Steve Young type deal, yeah.
Thanks, Carlos, man. Feels good. It's free to be kind, guys. It's free to be kind.
Get this man a t-shirt.
Yeah, well, as soon as we get merch, Carlos, you're hooked.
Anybody in the chat knows how to make t-shirts. Get that man a t-shirt.
So, Bert, how do you got this one? Miami a touchdown favorite at home.
Yeah, I mean, I think this is a line strictly off the fact that Pittsburgh came in and kind of shocked the world last week. God, this is a big line, but still, Miami, I think to handle it, and get it done, baby. -7, Miami.
Yeah, I'm going to take Miami too, because if Tua is healthy with Tyreek, like...
Are you going to be surprised?
Yeah, you're welcome, Mike. This is just eating at Bert that people keep on saying.
I know. If you go, I had the Bills. Which is just like...
Thank you, Mike. Thank you. I really appreciate it.
I got... Everybody's like giving me crap about the Bills because I said that they had a shot last week. Liam, who said the only way that this game even remains close is if there's like a muff punt or something. And I was like, that's an absurd.
And that's what did happen is like the Josh Allen, like the fumble to McKenzie.
You send it.
You just got to have some conviction, dude. The people want to hear the winners that you feel best about.
He's like, and Bert thought the Chiefs would actually have a chance in this game. And I was like, with the ball with over a minute left. Like, yeah, that's what I thought.
Hey, man, they never had a chance. That was fate.
Oh, my God.
So, yeah, I'm taking Miami -7 too. They're a defense that plays man coverage and blitzes a lot. And if Trubisky's in there, that's going to go terrible. If Pickett's in there, that's a really tough defense to face. I mean, they have some like injuries in their cornerbacks and whatnot, but like Tyreek and Waddle should just be able to go off.
Yeah, I was going to say, like, riddle me this. Tyreek goes for 2 and a rushing touchdown, and Jalen goes for 2. Are you shocked at that stat line at all? I'm not.
No, like the only way Pitt keeps this game close is if they are ball controlling, moving down the field.
I would say, I'd say the over
And because I think that, Miami will put up 35 at least. And then,
Well, I don't know.
Miami
Like
minus
pick
7.
one of the lines I feel more confident about Miami -7 would take a Herculean effort. Now, if Kenny Pickett's out there, I think Kenny Pickett's better than people think. So, you're definitely rooting.
He wears the glove. That's a little jarring.
Well, he's got like small hands, so he needs.
Yeah, well, it's very rare that you see the guy in the glove turn into a superstar. Peyton Manning, I guess, did it towards the end of his career, but that's really it.
Doesn't Teddy?
Teddy wears 2 gloves. Yeah.
Yeah, Teddy Two Glove. I love that. So Chicago versus New England. I saw something funny on Twitter today. This guy, Nick Runman, who does a lot with Underdog, is a big Patriots fan. And he retweeted this thing where I think the guy's name is like Nick Knoll or something. I don't know. He's like a Boston beat reporter for the Associated Press or something.
Oh, are you talking about the Ben Volen clip?
Ben Volen, yeah, Ben Volen. So Ben Volen said like, basically this fan tweeted, like reached out to Ben Volen in his DMs and said something like, hey, by the way, I like work tickets at the Patriots and everyone knows Mac Jones has an attitude problem. And this dude goes, great, thanks, and just ran with it.
Well, that's a little blown out of proportion because in the Boston media, there's a lot of talk about Mac Jones having an attitude problem this year. Not founded whatsoever. It's just kind of like what's been coming out of camp. And then Ben Volen has been saying this stuff like for weeks at this point. And then this guy like just added fuel to the fire, but like it's making it is funny that he like responded like, but it's misleading people into like, oh, this is why he's saying that. It's like he's been saying that. It's just like another thing that he's confirming or whatever.
Yeah, I don't even know. Like this could have been Photoshop for all we know, but it was. So here it is. Like,
yeah,
this guy goes, buddy works over at Gillette selling season ticket packages. He heard they went with Hoyer over Zappe against Green Bay initially to appease Mac, whose camp made it very clear they didn't want Zappe to jump in. Thought I'd pass along so the hashtag haters get off your back. Interesting. Appreciate the tip. And then he goes on the show and says something that like people are giving him pushback.
He's been saying similar things on his weekly. He's a doom and gloom guy. Like it's always that type of stuff with him.
Yeah, I mean that sells clicks. It is what it is. I don't fault anyone, but thought it was funny. You are a big Patriots fan. We know that. So what's your take, man? How did Zappe look? Like just pure eye test. How does Zappe look? How's Mac Jones
he's the next Brady, isn't that obvious?
No, I mean, what? How do you think it plays out?
It's very frustrating because you have guys that are playing Madden and running go routes with Tyquan Thornton and Kendrick Bourne and like on rookie just throwing for like 500 yards with Bailey Zappe and Mac Jones and probably running for like 250 yards too. And just talking about how like, oh, Zappe is the future. We need to get. I think Mac is still the guy.
They look so much alike.
The opinion, yeah. Well, yeah.
Let's pull that up.
Zappe's a little smaller. But the opinion of the guy that I really respect. Shout out Greg Bedard of Boston Sports Journal. He does some great breakdowns of the games.
Twins right there. Look at this shit.
Yeah. But he
not this guy.
He really feels that, and he goes through every game and evaluates every position, plus minus plays. I mean, a lot of what he's saying is that they've really dumbed down the offense. And hopefully they leave it like that when Mac gets back because they're trying to do like a bunch of Kyle Shanahan stuff that they're really not capable of or capable of coaching with Joe Judge and Matt Patricia doing OC duties. But with this game, what I will tell you, this is a game that New England is going to win handedly, and people are going to be.
Well, you didn't say though, so you think it's going to be Mac when Mac is back? It'll be Mac.
I think when Mac is back, it'll be Mac. Yes, I mean,
what are the Patriots? Are they 4-2?
If Mac is back this week, it's Mac.
But if they're like 4-0 with Bailey Zappi, like Bill might just be like, we're not changing anything.
Well, I mean, what's up with your talent evaluators? Like, why did Brian Hoyer even get a shot if Bailey Zappi's good?
From what I had heard is that Bailey Zappi is a guy that they felt was not as capable in practice, but they felt that he would be like a gamer, like his instincts are really good, as like stupid as that all sounds. But he's just one of those guys that I think they just felt more confident with Brian Hoyer. And then he's just played, completely serviceable for these last 2 3/4 games. So, I think that, but if they do go 4-0, and Mac
Are the Patriots?
but Mac could be
4-2?
back this week. That's the other thing. People are talking about Mac playing this week.
I heard that. So are the Patriots 4-2 or 3-3?
3-3.
3-3. So who are their 3 losses? They lost to
Green Bay. They lost to Miami, and they
Okay.
lost to who's the third loss? It's the NFC. team.
Baltimore.
No, yeah, Baltimore, and they lost to Baltimore. And then their wins are Lions, Cleveland, and there's one other in there too that I can't remember. Pittsburgh. So yeah, I mean, like their wins are against very low quality opponents, which is what the Patriots do. They get fat on bad teams. And I think this is a game that people are going to be talking about next week. New England's back. If Bailey Zappi is in this game, I don't think it really matters. If Bailey Zappi is in this game, it's just going to continue that whole Zappi fever thing. If Mac's in the game, it's going to be, okay, Chicago is not that good of an opponent or whatever, but they're going to win this game pretty handedly, in my opinion. Chicago sucks. And yeah, Pats -8. Feel pretty confident with that.
Yeah, I mean, Justin Fields did some exciting things. Arguably should have won that game back-to-back weeks where stopped at the 1.
Multiple times. I mean, what happened in that Thursday night game is a travesty to that young man. Like, he had them within the 5-yard line and they couldn't punch it in on 3 different occasions. Like, that is
Darnell Mooney getting like the ball at the half-inch line is like, that's just rough.
well,
if he doesn't
bobble, like if he caught it,
if he doesn't bobble it, that's a touchdown.
That's a touchdown. But then he's yeah. I mean, and
Um,
I've also been seeing like a bunch of clips of like Darnell Mooney was going into this game. People were like, Darnell Mooney's elite. He just doesn't get the ball, because there's all these clips of him like running wide open down the field, but you can never trust those. It's that and stills. Like you watch like clips of open receivers and stills, and like
well, Darnell Mooney is good, and Justin Fields is a problem. But yeah, and Tyquan Thornton, man, obviously he looked good, scored 2 touchdowns, made me quite a bit of money in DFS. I played him. He was like 0.3% owned at min salary. But yeah, I don't see how the Bears keep this close. Like, I expect the Patriots to roll with Ramondre. What's your take when Damian Harris returns? Should they just keep it with Ramondre? Like, he looks good, man. And he is a dancing rhino, I think.
Yeah, I mean, well, he's a bell cow back, classic bell cow back. If he played in Emmitt Smith's era, he's probably a Hall of Fame, like, hand the ball off for 1,200 yards every year, like, type of guy. Damian Harris a little bit better catching out of the backfield.
I think Ramondre is the better pass catcher. Damian Harris has been like stone hands.
Well, I mean, from what like previously in previous seasons, I mean, maybe Ramondre's had like a couple good games, but like that's his thing is he cannot catch the ball.
That's not the fantasies community take.
Yeah, but fantasy is like,
well, I mean, you care about that for fantasy. But
no, I get, but you just see like receptions and stuff like that. Like, yeah, if they dump the ball down to him a couple times a game, sure, he's getting that PPR point, but like he's not a danger in like
no, he's not going to house it.
He's strictly a safety valve. Like he's just from making sure the play doesn't go from bad to worse.
I I mean,
Most of his catches are like at the goal or at the line of scrimmage, and then he's dropped right there.
yeah, like Ramondre is kind of in the James White role, but
but James White is like way better at that like catching
sure,
the ball.
but it doesn't tip your hand when the guy can be power running it or catching it. I think Ramondre should clearly.
James White was never a power runner, so I mean, I don't know. It's not the same. It's not the same thing.
No, what I'm saying is when you have a guy who can power run or catch passes, and you don't have to sub him in, it doesn't tell the defense what you're doing.
No,
Like
I agree, but those guys are incredibly rare.
And Ramondre can do that, and so I think
he's power run, and then
he's a power runner who can catch the ball. Like I think the Patriots would be smart to roll with Ramondre, and I mean Damon Harris is
Ramondre
good.
Is a better talent. Like, and also by the way, they should be handing the ball off a lot. Like they should not. They should be running. Like,
what do you think the line would be if this game was Pats at Jets?
Pats at Jets in prime time.
Whatever, doesn't matter. Just like what we know today.
That affects the line. Like it just does. Pats at Jets. Pats at Jets. So the Jets are at home. Man, it might be a pick 'em. I mean, I'd like to say it'd be Pats minus 2.5 or something like that, but I think
it'd be New England minus 4.
Yeah, maybe with the history. I mean, I don't know. I mean, public money would just fly in on New England, but
it's just we haven't seen Zach Wilson have to. Wow, Bert, we made it, bro. Got the sex bots in here. Gonna ban those.
Wow.
All right. Well, let me highlight the ones. We're on the same page for quite a bit. A shorter slate this week with
what was it, 14 games?
I don't know. Let me highlight this and I'll share my screen. So we are looking at these ones here. These are the cards. I'm on the left. Oh God, what is going on? I'm zooming in on the wrong thing. Zooming in here, not here. So I'm on the left, Bert's on the right. You could see our full card. Hope you guys enjoy this.
Oh, wait, you switched it up now?
Yeah, I figured after 2 tough weeks, I got to put myself first, like if you want to get behind the mind of a champion. So if you guys enjoy the show, hit a like, drop a comment, guys. We read the comments. We enjoy all that. Let us know what picks you agree with. Again, my 2 favorite of the week, I believe, are Kansas City minus 2.5 and Miami minus 7. And I guess Green Bay minus 4.5. Those would be my 3 favorite this week. The New England one is close, but they could just play so slow. What are your 3 favorites this week, Bert?
Man, I like KC. I like New York Football Giants. And I guess I like Seattle. But I mean, I feel pretty good about all my picks. But then again, I'm plus 6 for the year. So
I like it. Well, trying to get a rebound week for me for picking the whole slate. But again, people out there, they can read between. Shout out Mike. Shout out Al Paul. Shout out
PG County.
Shout out Antonio Gibson.
And
we'll be back
City.
Tuesdays going forward, guys. Have a great night. And I'm about to watch these NBA games.
And Andor. Watch Andor too.
I thought that was done. I thought the season finale was last week.
No. It's 12-episode season.
Oh, nice. Hell yeah.
And next week they're coming out with Star Wars Tales of the Jedi, which are going to be little 15-minute shorts on Count Dooku and his origin story, and Ahsoka Tano and her origin story, and other characters like that. It's going to be pretty sick.
Like a cartoon or what?
Yes, it's animated. Very similar to Clone Wars, but there's only it's 6 15-minute shorts, 10 to 15-minute shorts.
Maybe we'll start doing a pop culture show too, where we can just run through Lord of the Rings and we can run through Star Wars and all that.
Yeah. No, and I mean that. Drop any questions that are not related to what we're talking about in the
Oh,
chat.
yeah.
You
You
see
guys
that
don't have
we
to
are
ask sports questions. Dating
very
advice, marriage
we get-
advice. We will give you it.
we get taken on tangents quite frequently. If you're visiting certain parts of the country, we're pretty well traveled. New England specifically, and then North Carolina and Florida, I guess, too. And I lived in Austin for a little bit as well. But you know, you guys got any questions about any of those places? Or recommendations if as we're like moving through those places, we love those too. So we love
Very
all the
clean
all the
outro
people
by
that-
us. Just a clean 15 minutes. Very precise. All right, guys. See ya next week. Peace.
Much love. All right, catch you later.